JKLIVE here at Citizen Television on the bench on this 24th anniversary of Safaricom. Who else would he have here on the bench than the CEO himself, Peter Ndegwa? He's been there for about 4 years and change. I tell you, we'll talk about 3.0. Safaricom is expanding by leaps and bounds, like it did from day one, folks. 24 years later. Somebody say, oh my. Shah or Shif, what is Safaricom's involvement?
I think we need to think about, I need to put some context around that. Okay. Remember I said we were a telecommunication business with a payment platform. Now we want to be Africa's leading purpose-led technology company, which means that we need to combine the role of technology plus innovation to solve societal challenges. We've been involved in supporting our communities, access services. Fastla Fund was the first one that we did. We are involved in agriculture with the fertilizer subsidy, giving the vouchers that farmers access. There's about 5 million farmers who have been registered on the platform, which we run. It is more than 1 million people, 1 million farmers have actually claimed. You have Inua Jamii, the vulnerable older people who used to get checks before. Today they are now receiving money on their platform. So this is about partnering to digitize the way the private sector does its business, whether those are merchants or not, or the way public sector delivers services to the public. So whether that is in agriculture, in financial services, in education, or even in healthcare. So the recent partnership with government is about supporting the digitization of the universal healthcare, which is, compared to the past, the future is very ambitious. The healthcare, the USC is very ambitious. It intends universal access to healthcare for all. Our role is to digitize the way you register, the way facilities access your data, the way that data is portable from facility to facility. So it doesn't matter whether you are being treated in a public hospital or in a private hospital, your data will be the same. And also what treatments you've been insured for, what limits you have, the way that all that data becomes interoperable. So how hospitals talk to each other and so on and so forth. The points of care digitization is one of the biggest ones. So it is a massive program that will happen over the next few years. And this is the launch in October is just the initial start. And we are partnering with Apero, who is part of the IHC, which is the holding company, which has many companies, including Ethiopia and so on, who have been involved in digitizing other countries, including Egypt, and then Convergence, who has been involved in NSSF and others. So it's about Safaricom's capacity to bring partners together. But for us, our role is to use the infrastructure we have. We have a connectivity layer, which means we can connect all the hospitals in the country. There are about 6,000 or so hospitals which are in the public domain. We have almost now connected all of them. They will have terminals, so they will have handsets which have been made locally. Every health professionals will have a tablet by the end of the program, and they will be able to access those services. So it's making sure the connectivity there works, starting to install all the systems that allow all hospitals to identify a patient, to be able to claim through the SHIF, which is the Social Health Insurance Fund, and also allow the whole infrastructure to work. But also, just like you asked me on M-Pesa, ensuring that this thing is resilient and secure it, cloud native and all that, and ensuring that you have secure hosting of anything that happens. But the data belongs to the ministry. In the same way that the data for NHIF belongs to the ministry, or the data on IDs and passports still belongs to the ministry. We're just a service provider. In the same way we provide a service on, for example, the fertilizer subsidy piece. And it is very expensive. When we've spoken to some of the media houses, they have actually been surprised by the level of ambition. If we deliver it in this country, and it will be one of the very best. But Safaricom has been involved in digitizing a number of elements. Yeah. So this is just one extra one. But also, if we don't do it, who else? I told you we have 33 million customers who use M-Pesa. We have 36 million customers who are connected. So therefore, the extension, if we can allow patients with ease to be able to access services, health services, in the new world where you have 3 funds, the primary health care fund, which is level 2 and 3, where it's free, the chronic illness and accident fund, which is also free, and then you have SHIF, which is I suppose that's where the biggest discussion is. But at the end of the day, is that everyone will have access to healthcare in this country, and in a digital way.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a great thing. But there was a bit of controversy when the initial amount was like 42 billion shillings, and then before we knew it, it had jumped up to 104 billion. Yeah, that's what people couldn't figure out what happened in between. Yeah,
for me, what I can say is that the contract we signed was was of the full amount. The 100 billion has been benchmarked around the world. There was some very extensive benchmarking that was done to ensure, because there are about 12 or so systems that will come together and be connected to be able to deliver the ecosystem of healthcare and allow all hospitals to talk together, to talk to each other, allow drugs to be issued, allow them to be dispensed. So I'm not sure about the 42 billion. I think that is a question that can be asked to someone else. But the contract that we received from government had the full amount. The one thing I would say is all the money is being spent in advance by the players who are involved, including Safaricom. And then once you've delivered the service and the ministry has ascertained that you have actually delivered the service, that's the only time that you are paid based on milestones, because government was not going to have the capacity to be able to fund it.
Right. There's some people who ask the question, NHIF, which was there forever. Yeah. And it seemed to work for the better part of the argument. It seemed to work. Are we reinventing the wheel here with SHIF? Or do we need to reinvent the wheel? Or why couldn't we just take NHIF and push that forward, include it in your platform?
I think there is a bit of oversimplification by calling it a platform. So if you think about M-Pesa, you might think it's a platform. But it's an ecosystem that allows you never to think about whether the money will be available, whether it is safe, and whether it's secure, and whether it is going to be always on. That's the same thing, because healthcare is very sensitive. The data needs to be kept in a certain way. So the digitization is independent of how healthcare is funded. Remember, NHIF is about funding. Yeah. It's the insurance fund, it's National Health Insurance Fund, just like SHIF, which is the Social Health Insurance Fund. So as we are not involved in the way the healthcare is funded, remember I said there are 3 funds. Yeah. There's the primary healthcare, which is funded from the consolidated fund through the Treasury, and the hospitals, level 2 and 3, actually claim based on the patients they have treated. So they basically said, I've treated this patient, I file an electronic claim, I get it refunded. And that will put money into the level 2 and 3 hospitals, which was not necessarily the case. The chronic illness, which is primarily happens mostly in level 4, 5, and 6, will also be funded through government. And again, those hospitals will claim that money. Then the Social Health Insurance Fund is the contributions that everyone makes, which is like us who are employed, which is the contribution, or testing for anyone who is not employed or who is self-employed, that will allow that to happen. Of course, there needs to be an insurance fund, an insurance that allows people to be able to pay on a regular basis. But so I want to separate, because that is not our, we are not involved in how healthcare is funded. Yeah. That is a government decision in how they fund. What we are involved in is how it is digitized, how you access services, how hospitals provide their services, how eventually all that system works, and how the ecosystems connect together. Because NHIF has now been replaced by SHIF and SHA and everything. But that is how healthcare is funded. From a system perspective, I don't want to comment on that, because we responded to what the government wanted to do. Yeah. And we are completely modernizing how healthcare operates. 2.75%
a month.
That is on the shift. That's on the shift, yes.
Correct.
Yeah, that's on the shift.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that's not something that we are involved in. But that was already in law.
Yeah, but you're paying that as a...
Yes, I am.
You're paying 300,000 shillings a month?
I don't know about that, Jeff.
Listen, yes. You had a busy day today.
Yes, I did.
Tell us about where you went, what you were doing, what was the purpose of this day?
So as we were gearing up to celebrate 24 years, 24 years is a big milestone.
Huge milestone.
Yeah. So in fact, today when I met some of the customers, I was asking, what were you doing 24 years ago? Some of them were not born. We met a law student who was actually not born, and so on. So what we wanted to do, given this company has been made by customers, 36 million customers who are on our connectivity business, and also the 33 million customers, and also all the business customers we have, merchants, agents. We have 300,000 agents. Wow. So we wanted to actually surprise, reward, thank all our customers, and I really want to say, as CEO of Safaricom, I want to thank all our customers, and I sent a note to everyone for the 24 years they have been with us, for being loyal, for trusting us with their money, with our ability to deliver services to them, continuing to trust that we will innovate more. So that's all we went. So I went to the shops in Junction. So I spoke to our team. We spoke to the customers who are in the shop. We cut a cake. Our customers participated. I gave airtime. We also had offers today. As I said, the first transaction was free for M-Pesa. Yeah. We had a data offer that was going on between morning and 6 p.m., which was for 20 shillings you could get 2 GB for 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, which is amazing. But today is the start of many more to come. So because we will gear the next 12 months, we are going to be celebrating many moments and also really interacting with both our customers, our employees, our partners, dealers, agents, supply chain community, the media. Everyone has been a partner of us. We're having caravans going around the country with your news organization to talk to be on the ground. Kwa ground, yes. Yeah, Kwa ground.
Correct.
Yeah, so it is. My team was all over the country, and the 6,000 employees today. Our intention was to make customers feel thanked and valued, and to say thank you. And the feedback was very, very positive. We paid money for people who are fueling, border riders who are fueling at the Shell petrol station in Kawangware. We went to...
I wish I was there. I should have been there.
Yes, so we went to a children's home in Kawangware called the CRF. Community, yes. So CRF, which looks after 200 children, teaching them sports and so on to keep them out of trouble, but also gives food. Remember, we have, as a brand, we've been known for supporting sports and other passion points like art. We've been known for our foundation, so we didn't want to forget the community. And we've been known for keeping the country connected and having M-Pesa as the primary platform. So I can't imagine how much money I gave today in terms of airtime, but what I can remember is the joy to feel that we were going to customers on the street. I told you that I ate some waru with peas and chapati for 100, and a lady called Lillian. I found a couple of customers who I wanted to speak to. Then I sat with them and I had this meal, fantastic meal, but it was very hot, as in temperature, very hot. So I could. But the one thing that I remember is the waru must have come from my country because of its size.
It's from Nyandarua.
It has to be from Nyandarua. I was asking the lady, but probably she doesn't know it comes from, but certainly it was fantastic.
Was it tasty?
It was very tasty.
Hot waru.
Hot waru. I allowed it to cool down a bit.
Yeah.
But I tell you, it reminded me. Remember, we all started careers from you know, people see,
there's a picture right there.
Yeah. So we started careers, our careers from the ground.
Way upper ground.
Upper ground.
Absolutely.
So I still remember.
Yes.
You know, people see CEOs, they think, well, your career has always been at the top.
Correct.
Yeah, I started as an assistant in PricewaterhouseCoopers.
There you go.
And you asked me where I was in year 2000.
In 2000.
I was actually on secondment to the UK. And I was still not very senior. So we've grown through the ranks.
Yeah.
So
and
just sitting with ordinary customers just made my day. Yeah. And then also going to see the children that we supported in CRF, the foundation. They look after 200 children who are mostly from that area. Yeah. And fantastic day. You know,
before you mentioned Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And, you know, I keep going back to Ethiopia because I've been there so many times. Mm-hmm. I know it's a country with a population of 100 million plus.
Yeah.
The potential is endless.
Yeah.
And you guys got in a country that was so difficult to get in. People don't understand that Ethiopia was difficult to get in. You guys are there, and you guys are making a difference. What's that like?
So, and people, you know, sometimes also when you're a leader, you have to. I might sound a little arrogant, but I'll say we have always been pioneers. And it was not easy to get into Ethiopia because it was a competition amongst international companies, telcos. They are much more experienced than us. And we brought together this consortium, and we were able to deliver a license award in the middle of COVID in 2021. So we are very proud. It's very difficult, but telecoms and brands, businesses like M-Pesa, is about the population. We can use the same experience we've had in Kenya to digitize Ethiopia. It's the second largest country, very young population, 19 years average age, only 50% covered by the network. Sure. So we knew there's a lot of opportunity, but also we had seen the opportunity, especially for M-Pesa in Kenya. And so far we made huge progress. We are seeing commercial acceleration. As I said, we have about half of the network that we are building in Kenya. We built it in 2.5 years. The one we built in almost 25 years in Kenya. And we are making progress. Yes, there are some challenges, but as I said, even when Safaricom started, there were challenges at the beginning. Yeah. Even when M-Pesa started, it was not an overnight success.
Correct.
So we have to be patient.
So in 5 years' time, it will be...
In 5 years' time, in 5 years' time, it will probably be delivering more than half of the growth of the Safaricom group. Half of the growth of Safaricom group.
What?
In 5 years' time.
It is that...
Yes, it's that significant, because if you think about it, the country is much bigger than Kenya.
Yeah.
We believe we will eventually, in the end, customer base-wise, we could easily overtake Kenya.
Correct.
Yeah, probably the Kenya will always be probably slightly more profitable because we have been here from the very beginning. Yeah. There we entered with a very large incumbent player, but we know how to operate. And we are patient enough. And also, the Kenya business is doing very well. Last year was one of our best years, growing more than 10% top line and growing 20% bottom line. This is when we hit the $1 billion EBIT, earning before interest and tax. So we are pacing ourselves. Yeah. We know that there will be bumps along the way, just like we've seen in Kenya.
Yes.
Business is about doing it in stages and building over time. And so as we are maturing the Kenya business, and people say, well, is there more growth in Kenya? There's a lot of growth in Kenya. Because even on the connectivity side, I said we only have 40% of the people having 4G devices. If you go to 100%, the usage of internet, by the way, one of the things we've discovered, Ethiopia, we are having more people using more data than Kenya. Our customer base, which is 6 million so far, is using more data per customer than what we have in Kenya so far.
What?
Yes, it is. So it tells you that even in Kenya, there is still potential. I talked about M-Pesa in Kenya having potential to expand beyond payments into insurance, into wealth, into all this credit, and especially on the business side. Overlaying solutions, whether those are for public sector, also for private sector, and ensuring that our customers, especially those 33, 36 million, and you asked me about SHIF and SHA, if Safaricom is not involved in those big programs, we always rise to the occasion, who will? Because when you think about it, we have to support our customers live better. The big sectors that affect our population is agriculture, is education, is healthcare. Even on the foundation side, we focus on healthcare and education because those are the places where you make huge impact on the broader population. So that's the reason why I'm involved.
By the way, I was in Dallas, Texas in July. And I was able to use my M-Pesa out there. I was able to do it.
Well done. Well done.
I mean, it went through.
Yes. And in fact, now we have a deal with Visa. So eventually, what will happen is you'll now be able to have an electronic Visa card, which is basically M-Pesa, and you can tap onto the other ground in London in time to come. When a visitor comes, they can pair their Visa card with M-Pesa so that they can use their Visa card as if it was M-Pesa locally. So that is the next step. Of course, it is not been launched, but once it's launched, it will also transform. So we want to continue to innovate so that we continue to improve the way customers experience. So if you're able to use M-Pesa in the US, that's
imagine.
Fantastic.
But how do you avoid all these swindlers and the crooks and everyone who's waiting in the wings, you know, for that Visa card or that M-Pesa card that say, it's time to make money. And they're there, and they'll always be there. How do you avoid that?
They are there. So we have built M-Pesa over time. So we really say, secure by design. You have to design it in a secure way and then keep improving. However, because we are connected between the mobile money, the mobile number and M-Pesa, people try to do what is called social engineering. So they call you, they ask you a few questions, they probably get your password, and Kenyans leave their numbers all over the place. They probably know your ID, and that's the way they start affecting people. Then as we are advancing, especially with big data and AI, the crooks are also advancing.
Absolutely.
So what is happening? We need to continue to focus on education, because even on the physical security side, the most important is to be aware. When you are walking in the street, if you're not aware, your money could go.
Correct.
So it is about creating awareness to ensure that people understand you can't leave your password. You can't give your password online. You can't assume that Safaricom is calling other than from this particular number. You know, and that's why we are doing also the caravan. And the next month we are going to announce a program where we just like Visa does, where we will make sure that if it's not truly your fault, we will tell customers there's more we can do for them. But the reason why we are more confident about that is because we build a lot of controls and a lot of security. But today, with big data and AI, we know where fraudsters, where the fraudsters are, the regions, the phones that are being used by fraudsters. Because when customers report, we can always tell where the location are. And then now what we can do is to isolate. So, for example, if you try and do a SIM swap in Sarit Center, but you are in Mombasa, we will tell. Because the network will tell us you are somewhere in Mombasa, and you are trying to do a SIM swap in Sarit Center. So therefore, we are able to really use data. And this is not someone watching anyone. It is just purely big data and AI. And saying, here are the parameters that you should check to raise a flag. And therefore make sure that if these parameters are met, stop the transaction. That's the same way the Visa does. So we learn from the best in the world.
What about all those guys in committee?
So one of or mulot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, yes. So that's why I'm saying, because of big data and AI, you can actually tell which is the hotbed for whatever source of issues, and then therefore isolate what those people can do. Because for someone to be able to defraud you, they have to go in and do a SIM swap, to go into a shop, to do something. So we will be able to tell by that a certain location is not good, or a certain number is not good. So we build those parameters, and those allow our risk team to be able to pick up some of those. But we have to keep doing it.
Yes.
And also remember,
and stay ahead.
Stay ahead
of the criminals.
With cyber, you also have to get good people to come and try and hack your system. Yeah, that's the same way we do on the fraud side. So we keep, and also we learn from the very best. And also we get certification. You'll be seeing some advert about certification we've got, about privacy, about security, that we are at the same level as a card issuer.
Right.
Yet we are not a bank.
Correct.
From a controls perspective and security. So we keep ahead. But the most important, and we always say to customers, the biggest defense is education.
No doubt. We're going to take a break, come back, and get on the magic wall. There's so much reactions tonight, CEO. It's going to be incredible. There's so much reaction. Everyone's tweeting, coming in thick and fast. Thick and fast. Keep the tweets coming, folks. At Koinanga Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag JKLIVE. JKLIVE. Takes a break. We come back with your feedback in a moment.